Hello everyone, it's Sarah here. Welcome to another yoga session. Today I am going to take you through a little bit more of an invigorating practice. Something just to get the heart rate up, to perhaps stimulate if you're feeling a little bit, and you might just want to increase your heart rate. This will be just a gentle way of doing that for you. So we'll get started. Come on over to the mat. What have I got today? I have my mat, my block. I think that's about it, unless you want to use a blankie for your shavasana. Have that close by. Otherwise, I'll see you there. So to begin, we're going to, well, it sounds a bit counterproductive, but we're actually going to start in child's posture. So having your knees wide and your big toes together, and just bringing your chest forward, extending your arms along the mat. Don't worry, we will start to stimulate the heart rate. So resting your head on your mat, and just taking this opportunity to just acknowledge where your body sensations might be coming from, if you need to adjust your practice at all, how you're feeling today as well. And just noticing how perhaps your belly might be pressing or moving as you breathe. How your ribs expand as you breathe in and contract as you exhale. And then from here, just lifting your head off the mat, taking your hips off your heels, just adjusting your body so you're coming into your neutral position, so your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your fingers are spread, you're tucking your toes under, and then on your next exhale coming into your downward facing dog. So adjusting your feet or your hands if you need to, using your hands to push into the mat so you can extend your hips away from you, lengthening your spine, perhaps using your heels to paddle up and down, feeling the stretch behind your legs. And then on your next inhale, raising your right foot up towards the ceiling, taking a bend in your knee, and just allowing your hip to drop open. So you're opening your hip, letting your foot, perhaps you can see your foot in between, underneath your armpit, your left armpit, rotate your foot around so it's saying hello. And then on your next exhale, extending your foot in between your hands on your inhale, and then bring your gaze forward, extending your back heel away from your body. Keeping your back leg activated. And then on your next inhale, raising on up to your high crescent lunge. Just letting your hips sink, using your back heel still to push away from your body. And I'll just get you all just to stay where you are, but for visual purposes, I'm going to turn around. And then just on Your next inhale, just stepping your back foot a little bit closer to your body, and then keeping your bend in your front knee as you bring your torso forward, lifting your back leg off the mat, extending your back leg away from you, coming into Warrior 3. So you can lower your torso, so it's like your torso and your back leg are parallel, in line with each other. Getting the wobbles out. It's okay if you fall or have a few wobbles. And there's a few options you can do with your hands. You can either have them extended, or you can have them in front of your chest. Or if you don't have a pot plant in front of you, you might be able to extend them forward like this. And then when you're ready, gently bringing your back foot back down to the mat, and then turning your feet so they're facing forward, keeping your legs wide, and then on the inhale, raising your hands above your head. Sorry, we're going to actually extend your feet so they're pointing outwards, so they're 45-degree angles, so just adjusting your feet now. So raising your hands so they're above your head, and then on your exhale, bending your knees so you're lowering your hips towards the ground, and just taking your hands and resting them on your thighs, coming into Goddess. You can perhaps wiggle your hips from sway from side to side. See if you can sink that a little bit lower. And then on the inhale, raising your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, your hands by your side. Adjusting your feet so your left leg is at a 90-degree angle and your opposite leg is pointing, facing the narrow part of your mat. And then on the inhale, raising your arms to your shoulder height, looking over your front fingers. And then on the exhale, bending your front knee, coming into Warrior 2. And at the whole time, just making sure that you're keeping your spine long and tall. Making sure that your knee is pulled back, not collapsing in. And then on the inhale, straightening your front knee, reaching forward with your fingers. So it's almost like you're extending your body, your torso. And then on your exhale, bending from your hips. And you can either use your block, place your hand on the block. You can take your opposite hand to your hip as you're opening up your rolling your top shoulder backwards and your bottom shoulder forwards. You can either look forward or look up towards the ceiling, or you can bring your hand down to the floor. Triangle pose. And then on the inhale, coming back up, releasing your hands by your side. Just moving your block if you like. Turning your feet to the opposite direction. Framing your front foot. Stepping either back into a plank, or you can take into a neutral position if you like. Staying here for a few breaths. And then exhale, coming into your downward facing dog. And you're just staying in that position for the moment as I adjust myself on the mat. And then on the next inhale, raising your left foot up towards the ceiling. And just allowing your left knee to bend and your hip to open. See if you can see your foot underneath your armpit maybe, twirling your foot. And then stepping on your inhale, your foot in between your hands. heel away from your body. So your back leg's active, you're looking forward. And then on your next inhale, raising your chest, keeping your front knee bent as you come into your high crescent lunge. And then stepping your back foot a little bit closer, keeping your hands still raised towards the ceiling. As then you have experiment and have a play with Warrior 3, lifting your back leg off the mat, extending it behind you as you lower your torso forward, lengthening and straightening your front leg. Play around with your hands, so you might have them extended, your fingers pointing towards your back toes, or an Anjali Mudra, or extended forward. And then when you're ready, coming back up to standing with control, bringing your back foot back down to the mat, turning your body, widening your legs again, pointing your toes outwards, and then on the inhale, raising your hands up towards the ceiling, palms touching. Exhale, bending your knees, lowering your hips, coming into Goddess. Keeping your spine tall, using your drishti to focus. Taking a few breaths. And on the inhale, raising your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands by your side, adjusting your feet so you're turning to the top of the mat, your back foot is at a 90-degree angle, your toes are facing the top of the mat. Inhale, raising your arms so they're shoulder height, looking over your front fingers. Exhale, bending your front knee, coming into Warrior 2. And always just have that feeling, that little rope is pulling your arm behind you, keeping your torso upright. And inhale, straightening your front knee, reaching forward with your fingers, and then exhale, bending from your hips, coming into your triangle. So if you're using your block, support underneath your hand, you could either extend your arm upward or take it to the hip, rolling, opening your chest. Inhale, coming back up to standing, turning to the top of your mat, bending your front knee, framing your front foot with your hands. You're either going to step into your neutral position or come into a plank for a few breaths. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, coming back into a plank. And this time, rolling on the outside of your right foot and extending your left hand up towards the ceiling. And if it feels okay, you can stack your feet on top of each other. And then exhale, coming back down to plank, and then rolling to the opposite side, stacking your feet if that feels okay. Lifting your hips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bringing your hand back down, bringing your knees to your mat, and then coming in to your child's position. inhale, lifting your head off the mat, lifting your hips off your heels, and then bringing your forearms to your mat, and just making sure that your hands, your elbows are sort of forearm apart, I should say. So your hands should be able to reach your opposite elbows. And then if you can, if they are reaching the same distance, interlacing your fingers in front of you and tucking your toes under, and then inhale, coming back. It's almost, this is called dolphin position, but if it's almost like a downward facing dog, but your arms are doing something slightly different. And then from here you can walk your feet in slightly, and always pushing in your forearms into the mat, extending your hips behind you. You can take a few breaths here, or if you like, you can play with just lifting one leg off the mat. And then exhale, coming back down, and then shifting and inhaling your opposite leg. So your head should be not touching the mat. It should be just sort of very free, being able to just hang there. And then when you're ready, exhale, bring your knees to the mat, releasing your toes, keeping your knees a little bit wide, big toes touching, bring your head to the mat. This time perhaps bringing your hands around your feet, just to release some of the shoulder pressure. And just noticing how your heart rate might slow down. And then gently lifting your head, coming back up, coming onto your bottom, bending your knees, lying on your back. So there's a few options here. You can either feel slightly more restorative and come into a supported bridge where you just lift your hips, place your block underneath your hips, and allow your pelvis to sink into the block with your arms rested, closing down your eyes. Or if you like, you can feel a little bit more invigorated and just widening your feet slightly and adjusting your feet so your hands can touch the back of your heels. And then inhaling, lifting your hips off the mat and rolling your shoulders under as you lift your chest and working your knees together. Your chest will be extending towards your chin, and if you can interlace your fingers underneath your back of your body, always lifting your hips towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, exhale, releasing, spine slowly rolling vertebrae by vertebrae back down to the mat, releasing your shoulders and just noticing the after effects. You could probably even allow your knees to rest towards each other. If you do have your block underneath you, just removing your block. If you're practicing supported bridge pose, lowering down your eyes, closing them, resting. And then when you're ready, just extending your legs, preparing yourself for shavasana. So if you need to take any clothing or blankets or eye pillows, now's the time. And then just gently create some movement in your body by wiggling your toes and fingers. And then just gently rolling to your preferred side for a moment. And using your top hand to push yourself up. Coming into a cross-legged position. Bringing your hands, palms together in front of your chest if you like. Thank you so much for participating today. I hope you enjoyed this little slight stimulating practice.